And it's time now for an in-depth look at the market news at this hour. And for that, I'm joined on the line by Mr. Daniel Yu, global strategist at Yuanta Securities. Mr. Yu, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you very much for having me today.
So this week, we're supposed to see another round of high-level trade talks between the U.S. and China. That'll have a significant bearing, of course, on the direction of stocks. We've seen some big swings in recent days. How's it looking out there?
Sure. As you know, that U.S.-China trade talk is expected to start on high level on 10th and 11th of October. The Trump administration, including Kudraw, says that there might be some surprise deal that might come out of this meeting. But many seems to not believe into this because in the last several months, most of the indication that some things are going right, actually it really didn't come out right. So the market volatility has actually increased quite significantly. But nevertheless, we do think that the Trump administration needs to come up with some kind of deal before the end of the year in order to help the Trump to win the next election process. So we do think that some small deal size might be happening over this trade talk. And both sides of the countries, the U.S. and China, probably needs to come up with some kind of deal that would help both the head of the states. If you look at the overall market, it seems that it is showing some recovery. U.S. market was up 1.4% in general. The European market was up about 0.86%. Nikkei is slightly down, and Chinese market is closed for the whole week.
Certainly, the calculus changes the closer we get to the elections. But this year, another topic that's come up is the OECD and others looking at a new paradigm for international taxation. This is to update the system that's been used for so long, and a major part of it is dealing with the fact that companies have a large digital presence where they don't have a physical one. What are the changes they're looking at and why?
Sure. If you look at this district tax issues, the current debate is not about the tax avoidance or the existence of stateless income. But it is rather that about the divisions of tax rights among the countries who consider that their citizens contribute to the profits made by some digitally focused companies. And most of these companies are generating profits in an unconventional means, so it is difficult to decide where the profits are generated. So there is continuation of conflicting perspectives among the nations in terms of setting the settlement rights. If you look at the OECD, they're discussing on this, and also the European countries, even amongst themselves, that they have conflicting views where the profits to be booked, to be taxed. But in any case, the effort will be made because most of the companies are moving into this direction. So unilateral tax measures will be decided. I think that this is something that is a big change coming forward in the future.
It'll be interesting to watch. Now, speaking of those issues and others, we've got the U.S.-China trade talks this week. What else do we need to be watching?
Sure. The key factor that we need to watch is that the U.S. economy is slowing down, and we've seen that a lot of the numbers coming from the U.S. in terms of PMI numbers and various other numbers. But the question mark is that whether or not it is a Goldilocks phase where fairly reasonable growth with a fairly reasonable inflation numbers, or whether it's going to the recession territories. So clearly the numbers, minutes from the Fed and the ECB monetary policy will be keenly watched. That will be coming out this week. And also the U.S. inflation numbers will be coming out this week. And that will give us some indications whether on the 30th of October, the Fed will cut another interest rate. Also, some of the numbers like Michigan consumer sentiment numbers will coming out, as well as UK GDP figures and also German factory orders. And all these are needed to decide whether the global economy is going to the recession or whether it is showing a moderate slowdown in terms of the growth rate.
All right, Mr. Yu, we'll be watching all of that. That's where we're going to have to leave it today, though. Thanks so much for coming on, as always.
Thank you very much.